What's up, everybody? We are super excited to be here for the third episode of the Majority Rules podcast. Jordan, who are we going to have on for this episode?
Yeah, for this episode this week, we've got Coach Gentry Johnson of the men's soccer team coming in, and also senior goalkeeper and team captain Michael Hamauei on the show. Looking to see what they have to say, and we're excited to have them on the show.
All right, we're about to dive into it with Coach Gentry Johnson. Let's see what he has to say. All right, we are here with Coach Gentry Johnson. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're going to dive into it. Tell us about how you got into soccer, your playing days, how you got into coaching, and then how you ended up here at Millsaps.
Man, you're dating me now, going back. But yeah, no, I mean, I played at 3 different colleges, ironically. Started at Francis Marion University, transferred to Cape Fear Community College, played a year at Division III at Greensboro College. I started my coaching career before I knew that I kind of wanted to coach, so I was an assistant on 2 to 3 teams when I was 17. My senior year in high school was kind of my senior project / just my beginnings. And then from there, coached a bit during college. I tore my ACL my senior year, so I moved home to transfer to UNCW to actually just begin full-time coaching. And then I moved to Mississippi after 6-7 years coaching at Wilmington Hammerheads Youth Football Club and ECNL Club in North Carolina. The 6-7's getting everything nowadays. Yeah, so.
I just knew somebody was gonna. There's gonna be somebody that watches it.
I can't remember honestly
if
it was 6 or if it was 7. But moving along from there, moved here to be a technical director at what was Brandon Football Club, now Rankin Soccer Club. Coached 3 years at Holmes Community College as a men's and women's assistant, and now this is my 3rd year as head coach here at Millsaps. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that, I would say he started chasing it young at 17, and now here I turned 34 this year. So, almost half my life coaching.
Yeah, that's crazy. How'd you get into a coaching gig at 17?
So at the time it was Cape Fear Soccer, and then they just basically the directors would need an assistant to be able to help cover sessions, just a player to be able to kind of be at a liaison to the players. And I was actually assisting 3 teams at the time, the 94 girls, 94 boys, and 99 00 boys. I mean, that's a long time ago now. But yeah, no, I mean, that's how I began, fell in love with it then. I mean, I was on a field 5 nights a week when I was there. So, moving along from there, like it's just always been something that I want to do. I still to this day, you'll find myself 2-3 training sessions daily. So that's what I love. It's what I enjoy.
Yep.
So we've talked about it in previous episodes with Coach Fisher and Coach Lettenberg. Depth is a great thing to have for a team, and you have a lot of it this year.
Absolutely.
And picking at you a little bit, it's hit you hard a little bit when you get the starters. You can't remember who you want to play, and that's a great thing to have.
Absolutely.
So tell us what it is and what it's like to have depth this year and being able to have your pick of the litter.
No, I mean it's been twofold. One, it's made sure that the boys come with the attitude and compete day in and day out. But I'll use the example just this past Sunday. Lion, I don't know how many players they played, but we looked at the match report against Belhaven. They played 16 guys. 2 of those guys only played 5 minutes or less, and then I'm guessing we played somewhere between 20 to 22. So when we feel that comfortable with those guys going on the field, we can just be better when we're sprinting while the other team is exhausted a little bit. I mean, we know the temperature. We talked about it. Started at 86 degrees. It was going to get to 90 degrees on a Sunday at 11 o'clock to 1. So if we can inject more energy, and if it's our 20 versus your 15 or our 24 versus your 15, we're going to be better. So that's been nice. I mean, that's part of soccer and part of the NCAA rules of being able to play nearly as many guys as you want to with the substitution rules, but it's definitely something that we've turned to this year that we've not been able to do so in the past, so it's been good for us.
Yeah, so we mentioned the depth. That's all really exciting. What else just with this team this season, as you're a good bit in so far, but you got conference coming up soon. So what are you most excited about with this team besides the depth that we just mentioned?
A lot. I mean, there's just a lot of different guys that we can turn to do different things this year. Which has not been the case in the past. I mean, I know that the team that I inherited, we had 21 players. You're always looking at least between 2 to at times 5 injuries, so we'd have 15, 16 to be able to train with. Last year we had 29, 2 red-shirted, and then we would have always the 4 or 5 injuries, so we just couldn't turn to quote-unquote the depth. Now we're sitting at 36. So, I'm really interested in hey, we now have an injury, right? We have a few players out, but we can still continue to compete. In the past, we've not been able to do that quite as well as we'd want to. And that's, also partially some of the, we're still very young. I think that if you looked across the board, we're probably averaging 7 to 8 starters that are freshmen and sophomores.
Yep.
And then those sophomores now, there's a lot of freshmen who started last year, played at least 1,000 minutes, and those guys are sophomores now. So we're looking to them to make sure that they can bring the maturity inside of our conference. Our conference is definitely one of the top 5, top 10 nationally. You see a lot of good results from the likes of the teams that we play. But just being able to have a bit more depth, and if we do have a couple of injuries, that we're not blundered to a point or playing guys 85 minutes, to get through. Now we can play them 60 or 65, and I think that's going to make us more competitive.
Yeah.
So
I say, and along with the conference, you got 2 more teams coming in.
Mm-hmm.
One of them historically really, really good in Trinity, and Southwestern you kind of get of, what day do we get them type deal. So when you get deep into conference, when key moments matter and the little things start to hit a little harder than they normally do,
right.
What are you relying on more? Are you relying on, like you talked about, the playing hard, who's going to bring the work ethic, or are you just are you relying more on of who's going to do the smart things and make the right decisions in key moments?
Honestly, it's just going to be about making sure that hopefully we can match the tactics that they're bringing, and then just making sure that we can minimize mistakes. You mentioned Trinity. I looked at it, I think, a couple of days ago, but their coach is a pretty well-known coach, but he's entering, I think, his 35th year of coaching. Here I am, 33 years old, turning 34 this year, so he's been coaching at Trinity longer than I've been alive. And they've won a national championship, so they definitely bring a different experience to things, but we're excited about that. It's clear that if we could ever get to a point that we could compete with Trinity, compete with Southwestern, both have been ranked in the top 25 this year nationally. I think Southwestern still currently is. Then we can compete hopefully with anyone. I still think that we have some work to be cut out for, but we're not going to know where we stand up until we find these games. I definitely think that last year we would have not gone in nearly as prepared as we are this year. I think that's an attestament towards the boys' work through the course of the summer. A lot of them played this summer. A lot of them really bought into the ideas that we gave them in spring and the amount of work that we've had. And then now I think that these freshmen are definitely, or transfers are following suit to some of the culture that we've instilled. So we're happy about that. And I'm interested to see how it goes in the face of a little bit of adversity. Yeah. We haven't been losing frequently. We've only been losing in one match this year at Latorno on our Sunday or Saturday after playing Thursday, and then we climbed back into the game 2-2, and we just feel more of that coming at some point, and I want to make sure that our players that have been in conference before help lead, move on from mistakes, make sure that we're not upset with one another to a point where we're shutting down just a little bit or turning on one another. And again, we've not seen that yet. I think that we're preparing for the moment. But with that being said, I think that the boys are bringing the maturity and being well equipped enough to do what we want to do.
And this is kind of a personal question for me because I've kind of noticed this since I've been here. But really this year it's been hit really hard. The back line and Michael Hamauei, which we'll have on later. The back line and Michael Hamauei, they do a great job of taking their time, setting up, and letting everything develop to open up bigger plays and different things like that and move the ball downfield. What is it like at practice, whether it's teaching them that or just talking them through what's going through their mind during that perspective? And are you pleased with it so far and you hope it will continue? Or will it the game plan, or is it just a game plan thing and vary from game to game?
No, we want to stick with our game model. I'm glad you bring Hamauei into it. He's one that I'm usually extra hard on. Being a senior, being very close to, I think, being the saves leader, very good with his feet. We've relied on him a lot. So his margin for error is less than others. But again, so right now we have one senior in the back line, Sam Cagle, who started regularly. We've had some rotations inside of there, but truth be told, I mean, Drake, he was injured all last year, maybe played one game. So we kind of look at him like a freshman. He's played a lot of minutes. Tyler's a freshman. Daniel Lee medically redshirted last year. So it's pretty much a brand new back line that has started pretty repetitiously. Caleb would have been one that, he's a sophomore. We're waiting on his MRI results to get back. But again, like we definitely feel that we're stepping into the roles that we need to be a little bit more patient. So, I mean, I think that, when I came into this, it was minimize all risk. Now we're allowing for a little bit more risk, building out and taking a little bit more risk. And I'm interested to see that if we can do so once we get into conference with a bit, tougher opponents. But we'll definitely prepare. We're definitely already watching film and making sure that we're kind of getting an idea of what they look like formationally, what their trends look like, so that way we can be prepared for those moments.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about some of the transfers / freshmen that have come in and really made a big impact for the team. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you mentioned how many more people you have this year than last year.
Yep.
A lot of freshmen guys that are on the field / transfers that are on the field. I'm just going to say newcomers. A lot of newcomers that are on the field for you, contributing. So let's talk a little bit about them and what they've meant so far this year.
Yeah, no. There's been a handful. I mean, I probably would start with Miles Walden. Miles has been extremely good, extremely talented. He's usually came off the bench and almost intentionally because he's such an injection of energy. And when the opponent is a hair tired, if they leave their right back on, who's played 20 minutes, and he comes on with fresh legs, I mean, he's done very well. I don't know his exact goals and assist to date, so don't quote me on it, but I know it's north of 5 or 6. He's been excellent. I mean, Daniel Lee, he's a newcomer considering that he's medically redshirted last year. So he still has 4 years of eligibility. He's been incredible in terms of just being patient, being composed on the ball. Tyler Hervey's moved in and out of center back and outside back. He's done a very, very good job of being strong in the challenges, still working with him on a few tactical moments, and he's been excellent in terms of taking accountability of like, hey, this is what I need to learn. Raul has been very, very good in the midfield, getting away from players, slipping things in. He had an incredible goal. If you haven't watched it, I really encourage you to go look at the highlights on Millsaps Men's Soccer Instagram. He had a half-field goal.
It'll be added on this video, so
no,
they can check it out here.
He's been exceptional.
Heck of a goal call too. I mean,
oh, really?
Who did
Yeah.
that, but, I mean,
But yeah, no, I mean, there's more too. I mean, I could keep rolling in terms of newcomers. Braden Walters, he's been kind of just like our bulldog in the midfield. I mean, anything that kind of gets in front of our back line, trying to make sure they keep his temper. He's on his third yellow, and he's very good. But I mean, he played safety in high school, so he kind of takes that out a little bit here on the soccer field. But he's been excellent as a transfer in from Itawamba in the junior college scene. And I mean, I could just keep rolling too, just because of how many guys that we have played. But no, I mean, between Miles, between Raul, between Tyler, between Braden, they all deserve a bit of recognition. Abram as well, just the other day against Huntington. He scored a goal, had an assist. I mean, he had kind of solidified a starting role, scoring a goal in the reserve match just 2 days prior. So I mean, that was big for him, So I mean, like, he's another one that's just put his head down, continue to work, and I think all the guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that even the guys that are returning as juniors or seniors, everybody's been excited about where we're at right now, and I'm always like peeking my head around the corner because last year and the years before, and I want to make sure I give a shout out to the guys who we've coached in the past couple of years, whether they've graduated or they're in their junior senior year. They've really pushed through some tough times. And we've had some good results as a result. We've had some tough ones as a result, but like that resilience has built the culture for us to be just a bit tougher now, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell, like, this year, like, you go into every game expecting to win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say that in the years past it hasn't been,
Yeah.
but like, they step on the field, you can tell, like, we're gonna win this game. Is the mindset.
There's a sudden change this year in the atmosphere that everybody, I feel like, can tell.
Right. No, definitely. I mean, I think that in years past, if we're down a goal, we're down 2 goals, it's like, hey, we want to minimize risk because we don't want this to get out of hand to go to a third goal. Now, if we're down 2-0, it's like, hey, are we shifting into a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3? Who are we putting where to go chase the game? in the event that we concede that next goal, which is always definitely possible, we'll be willing to accept that. But also on the flip side of that, can we climb back in? So we have been on the good side of that so far with Latorno. It's the only moment that we've had to do that. But again, I'll say that it was really good that we had the insurance policy this past Sunday. Raul's goal was the third goal, and then Lion crept back in, scored a great header. So it's just like making sure that we can be ready for both sides of it. So, and then that's something that we talk about day in and day out. And part of every single one of our pregame matches, we're talking about our emotional points. If this happens, this is where we need to make sure that we lead. This is how we react. On the flip side, hey, if this is going well, this is what we should look out for to make sure it doesn't slip up. So, I think that the boys have glued onto that pretty well, but I'm still looking for it to be a peer-led environment. I can only hear so much inside of the field, but we're trying to make sure that we can help them along to where they're leading one another in the event of any crisis or any roadblocks.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it's been great having you on. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk to Michael later.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have a good time with him. Absolutely. Man, what a great talk we had with Coach Johnson there. Jordan, what are your takeaways from that?
First off, he's really insightful.
He is, for sure.
For a guy that's, when we're up in the office, he's always joking around, always messing around, and he's in a serious mood because he's in soccer mode. That was a great, great job by him. That was really insightful. I wasn't expecting that. But no, I think he's he's right in a lot of aspects, and I think they're rolling. Honestly, I think their game plans are great from what he was saying, and I think their philosophy is great. We just have to see how it plays out in conference play because as we talked about a little bit, and I'm sure we'll talk with Hamauei a little bit about conference is going to get stacked.
Yeah,
and it was already, from a soccer standpoint, it was already stacked, and then you're adding a very historic team in Trinity, and like I said, a Southwestern that it's kind of like a Berry deal. Like, what day are you getting them? Are you going to get them like on a good day, and it would be an evenly matched game, or are you going to get them on their best day, and you don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. And 35 years, good night.
35 years, that's a long time that guy's been coaching over there at Trinity. Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're in the right place, and I think that as long as nobody messes with them and they leave them alone, I think they'll be good.
Yeah. All right. Next, we're gonna have senior goalkeeper Michael Hamauei in. Let's see what he has to say. Welcome back to our third episode of the Minority Rules Podcast with Michael Hamauei. Michael, happy to have you in.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, let's get a little started into your story. When did you start playing soccer? Give us your whole story all the way up to here.
Yeah, so like Sam said, my name is Michael. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I started playing soccer in a random rec league on a random weekend when I was 4 years old. Had a couple friends from my elementary school that kind of had a team. They're like, hey, you want to come play? I said, sure. And then pretty much ever since then, kind of just my love for the game was kind of born after that. I've played ever since then. Started playing goalie around when I was 10 years old, and then that's just like when I was younger. So yeah.
All right, then did you play in middle school?
Yeah, played club. We didn't have like a middle school team, but playing club soccer all the way up until I was done with high school pretty much.
Yeah. How was your high school team? Were you any good?
Yeah, I take a little bit of pride in our high school soccer team. 3 times in a row district championship, first time in school history doing that. And so that's where my best friends in that I have were from. So, that was the main thing accomplishment wise. Made a state semifinal for Division I Louisiana ball, and that was really the big accomplishment. So
yeah. All right, let's talk about your kind of recruiting and then Millsaps and how all that went.
Yeah, so obviously Coach Gentry's a coach now, but back when I was a senior in high school, our coach was a guy named Coach Kurt, and he was recruiting a different guy for the team that was playing against us. His name was Jacob Romero, playing for Southside High School, and we played them in a tournament in Lafayette, I believe, Copa Acadiana tournament for the Louisiana people. And I obviously played in the game. We ended up tying that game, but after that, Coach Kerr sent me an email wanted to, kind of get to know me a little bit more. And then after that, it was kind of just back and forth, sending my highlight tape, stuff like that, until I came for his visit first here. I liked campus, and then he came and visited for one of my games, which I'm from Shreveport. It's not a big soccer city. And so, it was the word around town that a college coach was coming to one of our games. And so it meant a lot because no other coach really did that for me. And so he gave me an offer right after the game, after watching me play, and I committed a couple weeks later.
Nice.
That's really it.
Going into your senior year here, big expectations coming into this year with the roster y'all have. What has surprised you the most so far, being 6 games in, and what has pleased you the most so far going into this season?
Yeah, I would say surprising-wise, just the effort, I would say, all around from the team. Obviously we were coming off a couple of years of really struggling, especially in these close kind of matches and kind of making sure we're putting those away. And this year we've kind of done the exact opposite of that. I think a lot of it comes down to just, I guess, the mindset overall for the team of just making sure we're putting teams away and getting results in the games we should have instead of maybe slipping up here and there. And then as far as just making me the happiest, like you said, it's my senior year. I love winning, obviously, but honestly, just overall, I feel like the team is just gelling really well right now. I have the unique opportunity to be a captain on the team and kind of be a leader, I guess, but it kind of feels like almost that kind of has been pushed to the side, and it's just a bunch of, there's 40 of us now of just a complete unit just trying to get one job done, and we have very little controversy, very little problems throughout games, throughout practices, and we all have one goal, and I think that's kind of shown so far throughout the season. So.
Yeah, you talked about how there's 40 of y'all, a lot of new people, transfers and freshmen. Talk about the impact kind of just some of them have had. You can name people in specific.
Yeah, obviously, the newcomers are a big part of what we do. Obviously, we just played last night when we're filming this, and 3 freshmen score all 3 goals, and we win the game. And so I think that kind of puts it really into perspective because the goal scoring, I guess, is highlighted. But, overall, just kind of when you have better people around you, everyone's the talent lifts everybody up. And so we have 40 guys that can play soccer, and so some of them are younger, some of them are older, and like I said, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, much your age. And we've kind of put that on to showcase, I think, the goals really help. But overall, just having guys that you can always play to, always can trust. We talked about it in preparation for the game we just played, about how our rotation is 22 and theirs is 15. Well, that's 7 players that we have that the other team doesn't. And so when you keep fresh legs on the field, you score goals. That's really it.
So obviously having depth is a great thing in soccer, but do you think it's more of the mindset of, okay, this is what we need, this is what we can do if we do this correctly, or do you think it's just, like you said, just going out there and playing and not worrying about anything, just playing and doing the right things on the field?
Yeah, I would say more the first and the second. Our schedule is a bit fortunate this year to set up this past week. We played a midweek and then a weekend, and we'll do the same thing this week. And so you have a lot of time to prepare for these opponents. And so we spent game plans looking at how we're going to attack, how we're going to defend, all our pressing and stuff like that. And you go out there and you score. You saw, maybe you didn't see Raul's goal from half field, but that's something we worked on all week, talking about, hey, the goalie's off his line. If you get the chance, you might as well go for it. And so I think a lot of preparation from the coaches, from the team, for those games, as combining with that talent and that depth, has kind of combined into one to kind of put out a final product.
I say, does it relax you more when you're in goal, knowing that you have this? Does
Yeah.
it take a little pressure off you?
Yeah. When my season high in saves was last night and it was 2, I have a much easier job right now, and so that's really just a credit to my team, especially my defense. I'm kind of loving life a little bit right now. So,
yeah, you mentioned 2 saves as your season high. Just the time of possession, I know that's a football stat. I don't know if that's a soccer stat, but
No, it's definitely a soccer.
yeah. But like y'all have just like absolutely dominated, controlling the ball, controlling the pace of the game. It's been really good to see. So do you think, what's the difference? Obviously, you've talked about how some of the years past haven't been the brightest, but this year things are looking really good. So what's the difference between the way your mindset is coming into the game this year compared to last year? Also, just like the preparation pregame, because I'm not gonna say you didn't expect to win games last year, but like this year it's like you can win every single game you play type of
we
thing.
absolutely expect to win every game this year. And I think that's kind of exactly what it boils down to. You know, a lot of the past players, honestly, I don't really think it's necessarily their fault of coming into games thinking like, oh, well, we may struggle here, have to defend a lot or stuff like that. And this year it's just not like that. Like I said, we have enough players to where it's like we trust every single one of you to play all the games and the minutes and come off the bench and do whatever your role is. A lot of guys are really good at doing their role, and I think that's kind of led to just the belief. I would say that's really the biggest thing that I've noticed. I've always believed in this team, but when you start to put results together, I think other people start to believe as well, and it also validates that belief a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say overall, overarchingly over this entire team. Like the one thing that we have this year is belief, in the sense that we can go get a result from every game, no matter who it is that's we're stepping across. And it doesn't matter who your 11 is or your whole team or your coaches. We're gonna win the game, and it's really simple as that.
Speaking of coming off the bench, how about Miles Walden, dude? And he has been insane off the bench for you.
Yeah, Miles is such an interesting character. Like, not really just his personality, but just like how do you use a player like that? And obviously, we've had those conversations before of like, you know, he leads the team in scoring.
Yeah.
How do you bring a guy like that off the bench when he's leading the team in scoring? But it's like it's just it speaks to the personnel that we have, but also it speaks to everyone playing their role. And when you get a team like I said, just a team that maybe has less depth, and all of a sudden they've been playing 30 minutes, and then Miles to start running at you, you're not in a good spot. You're never in a good spot when he's running at you, but especially when you're tired. And he has been incredible. He's definitely the fastest player I've ever played against in my life. But overall, just the energy he brings and to do it off the bench kind of shows you his attitude and his own personal belief.
Now, I was gonna say, when I said that, I don't want to put him on a pedestal and put him over somebody else, but I mean, just coming off from what I've seen, being in the booth working y'all's games, coming off the bench, like other than just getting the ball down on his foot, as soon as he gets it on his foot, he's comfortable when he feels like he's going. He's
definitely a problem, and I think it's one that a lot of teams don't expect. Like you said, you usually don't have a guy like that comes off your bench. And like I said, his attitude and his want to score goals.
And I speak on that, and I say that the guy in front of him the past couple weeks, Abram Lawless, has looked the exact same way. So and from my perspective, I'm kind of with you on that. It's like, how do you defend Abram while he's in the game, and then you turn around, you got to defend a tad bit faster guy, and that does the same thing. And
I mean, our winger depth this year is something that is key. It's I think that winger outside mid position is the hardest to play in the system that we play, and so it gives a lot of credit to those guys. I mean, they're constantly rotating, but I mean, we have lately it's been Drew, McKithen, and Abram that have been starting. They kind of offer different things. Drew more possession based, his technical abilities is very good, and Abram's more at the I'm going to get at you. And then I mean, recently off the bench, but also starting was Ethan, obviously one of the upperclassmen, and then Miles. And we have a bunch of different guys who can play there, and that's kind of been, like, I would say the four main guys. But I give a lot of credit to those guys because, like I said, I think it's the hardest position to play, how we play. And, I mean, you see the amount of goals and assists are coming from those positions. So
that's to say, now I want to mosey on back to your back line a little bit. From working y'all's games last year and compared to this year, your back line seems more calm and composed. How does that help you and the system that you play in and different things like that, especially when there's a lot of resetting coming back to you and the back line?
I mean, I can't give enough credit to my defenders. I mean, you look at the guys that are starting this season. I mean, we have Daniel Lee, who's a redshirt sophomore after not playing because of an ACL tear. We got Drake coming off his shin splints. He didn't play barely at all last season. Tyler's a freshman. Those are the three center backs that have played every minute this season. So little to no college experience coming there. Obviously Sam on the right, I mean, I can't say enough about Sam. Obviously, a senior, shows his experience almost every game. And then obviously we had Caleb, unfortunate. Hopefully we get him back soon from his injury. But I mean, like, I can't even speak enough on the calmness that these guys have. I'll always remember, my freshman year, my first games playing collegiate soccer, and how like nervous and difficult that was. And these guys are all thrown into the fire, and their leadership and their confidence, just to be able to do that has been incredible. But honestly, in the way we play, I give a lot of credit to our back line, but I give a lot of credit to the midfield and the offense as well. We've set up in past years a lot deeper in the field, soaking up more pressure, which makes it a lot harder on the back line. But, I mean, when you have attackers that can go and midfielders that can go press, and we make it really hard on these other teams, it's all of a sudden like, well, the defense doesn't have to do as much. I don't have to do nearly as much because the ball they never come all the way back there. And so I would say obviously overall it's a team effort, but yeah, I can't speak good enough on the new players we have back there.
Yeah, so let's look. I don't know how much you have looked into conference this year. It is coming up soon. But let's just give a little preview into what conference play will look like. What are you most excited about as you're playing against people that you play every year? You know these guys by this point, the upperclassmen at least. What are you looking forward to most about conference?
And I'll add on to that, since your confidence is boosted, how do y'all contain that and focus on going game by game instead of just conference as a whole?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. Obviously, you're looking a little bit in the future. We play Tougaloo on midweek this week, and then we're going to LaGrange. But once we get into conference play, man, I mean, I think that the mindset is going to stay the same. We're going to go – we have a lot of home games, which is good this year, but we're going to go into every game thinking we can win. But, it's a weird conference change with the Trinity and Southwestern joining the conference. But, I mean, there's 8 teams, I believe, and 6 make the playoffs. And, getting one of those top spots or even just one of those playoff spots has been the goal from the beginning of the season. But it'll be interesting. I have a couple friends that play on the other teams, obviously, in the conference, and we're just going to try to take it one game at a time. Like I said, it'll be a little difficult going from the midweeks and the weekends to the Friday, Sunday games because those can always you have less preparation for the Sunday. But, we got the win against Barry this last season, and I think we're just looking to build on that. Like I said, a lot of home games, and then we'll go to Oglethorpe, Trinity, and Southwestern on the road, which will be a difficult stint. But, I really do think if we keep that belief, then we're going to keep going. And, I mean, we're going to keep the undefeated streak going as long as we can here. So.
And I'm not trying to set you up when I ask you this. I'm not trying to hit you with a John Morant quote or anything, but – who are you looking out for the most in conference? Yeah, so
I mean, as far as like teams I've played in conference, it's got to be Rhodes. I mean, we were, in my opinion, unfortunate not to get a result from there, but I really don't like them, to be honest with you. I just don't care for the players. I don't care for the coaches. I don't really care for a lot of stuff that they do. No one else has really ever been disrespectful or anything like that besides that. And then Trinity is the other one for me. I was recruited by Trinity coming out of high school and felt just a little bit disrespected by kind of some of the things that they had to say. I got one of my very good friends plays for Trinity, and so that one was the one when I heard that they're coming to the conference. It's like, I mean, they're the number 3 team in the country right now.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, well, like, let's really see what you got. And so those are probably the 2 biggest ones for me. So.
Yeah. Well, Michael, thank you for joining us. We had a good time. We had Coach Gentry earlier. We'll get this all put together and can't wait for the rest of your year as we get in conference and then obviously the 2 games later this week.
Thank you. Good luck rest way.
Thank you. Hey, I appreciate both y'all for having me.
Man, that was great getting to talk with Michael there. Some really cool insights on the team this year. Do a little jab at the end too. So that'll be fun to watch coming up in a couple of weeks between Rhodes right there after that. What were your takeaways there?
I will take it. I will start straight at the jab. I love it.
I love it too.
I love it. I love seeing the captain, out of all people, get into it and have the heart and the fire behind that. I think they look great right now. I think they've got to keep it up, and I think, like Michael talked about, I think they just got to keep it calm and poised and moving along and just all staying on the same goal and make sure nobody slips up. But as we talked about in the previous episodes, it's great to have depth.
Absolutely.
It's great to have depth in sports in general, but especially here now because obviously this is your sophomore season. This is my senior year. Seeing the depth that we've had in multiple sports and multiple teams this year has been a first since I've been here, I feel like. So having depth is amazing, but I'm really excited for them. Honestly, I really am because we talk about it like we're really excited for football. We're really excited for all these, volleyball like we talked about. But I'm like truly, honestly excited for them just because they have not had, since Michael's been here and since I've been here, they have not had a positive year. They've had positive moments, but they haven't had a continuous positive year. And they've won more games than they did all last season in a 3-week span.
Yeah.
So I hope they keep it rolling. I think they can keep it rolling. I think, like Michael talked about a little bit, injury as long as people can stay on the field. But once again, that's plus side about having depth and guys stepping up and making plays and doing things in practice that please Coach Gentry and think that they can play in a game. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm really excited for them.
Yep. Thank you for all tuning in this week for the 3rd episode of the podcast. We'll be back either next week or the week after, probably with the women's soccer team. Get a little bit same type of episode as this week.
We can't get a week behind again, man. We gotta.
That's on me. That was on me.
No, it ain't on you. We just had a busy week. We gotta.
We did have a busy week. We gotta keep it weekly.
I had people blowing me up about it. We gotta keep it up.
Yeah, we'll keep it weekly. So next week, Jordan's gonna hold me accountable. Next week, we'll be back with the women's soccer team for a little conference preview on them. Talk about what they've got going so far. Thank you for being here. I enjoyed it. Jordan, did you enjoy it?
I loved it, man.
I hope you enjoyed it as well. Until next time, go Majors.
Go Majors!